anyone says the words cloud Sherpa to you, I want you to get out of that meeting as fast as possible. I don't care if you have to jump out the window, get the hell out of there. First of all, the name, very cringe. Okay, like, ew. We're not climbing a mountain, we're moving to the cloud. Relax. The second is, that is the gateway to the SaaS toll highway, or how the SaaS mafia is going to get you locked into their ecosystem. And I'm going to kind of lay it out how that happens, because it can be very sneaky. And all of a sudden you're locked into this $1 million contract that you have to sell your firstborn child to get out of. So here's the play or the trap, So they offer this service of moving you to the cloud, like it's some sort of white glove experience. And it's going to be very easy because they're industry experts. They know how to do this. They've done it in your industry. They've done it, for Jesus Christ himself. But the way they extort you into this design and architecture is that it's literally cheaper for you to stay miserable in systems you don't like, that don't fit your needs, that they got paid for offering and selling you, and than it is to leave. And that obviously is not transformation. It's weird captivity. So this is how it happens. So step one, right? We have maybe a mid-market company, probably about 500 million to $1 billion, messy legacy systems, CRM, ITSM, ERP, whatever, right? And they have some core issues, like they can't do fundamental functions like billing. And the executives are like, we need a modern cloud to be a grown-up enterprise to fix everything. And then the big consulting firm comes in because they're the experts. So let's pay these people, right, that are going to make sure that we get the technology that we need, because they have all of these logos and everything else and this, $1 billion marketing machine. And they come in as these neutral advisors. Big mistake, right? They are not neutral in any way, shape, or form. They get paid, right, for implementing these certain systems. They show you fancy slides that say things like future proofing or, end-to-end AI integration, or all of these different things that don't actually mean anything, right? But you think they're going to provide the best value that you could possibly get. So this is a smart investment, right? And then your Sherpa, right, steers you towards a very heavyweight stack that is far too much and too expensive for a mid-market company, right? That has it all. This is an integrated solution. It has a CRM, it has an ITSM, right? You could be doing Salesforce, ServiceNow, whatever. And it has dozens of modules that you can grow with for later phases. Sounds great, right? And then comes the baked lock-in, okay? So contracts are multi-year. They're all consumption-based, outputs, export terms, hard caps on price increases, all of this sneaky language. So you actually have no idea what you're buying, especially when it comes to hybrid pricing and tokens for AI. Because we're trusting the industry experts and our Sherpas here, nobody really costs out what switching would be like, because we're not concerned about that, right? We're choosing our technology for our future, but we don't understand the perpetual renewals and treat SaaS choices as effectively irreversible. So we've signed the contracts, and then comes these zombie automations and this hard barbed wire lock-in over maybe 18 to 24 months, or as long as they could possibly stretch out your implementation, unless you're SAP, because they get paid on go live. So then that's going to be in 3 months. Anywho, right, the consulting firm then wires together your CRM, your marketing automations, billing, support, custom workflows and bots that, again, you're being charged by the output, not by the actual license like the structure used to be. They create these custom integrations because, again, this is your ecosystem. You just don't realize that they own the custom integrations so you can literally never get out of a relationship with them without breaking your system. You have just an absolute army of APIs that are so fragile and brittle that they're hanging on by hopes and dreams, again, you don't own nor control. And not only are you now trapped into this really weird, fragmented ecosystem that makes them incredibly profitable, but you don't understand how much it costs. Now all of your processes and your employees are now muscle memory around these SaaS systems as well. And the most risky piece of this is the data ownership, that on paper, it looks like in these sneaky contracts that the customer actually owns their data, right? Which isn't the case whatsoever at all, because these vendors impose things like time-limited post-termination access for full exports of their data, or they make it very, very hard to plan another migration to get off of that. We also have limits on when you can access your data. Yeah, you might be able to access it at 2 a.m. on a Tuesday for an additional charge that you had no idea even exists, and completely forget about trying to use any other system outside of their ecosystem, because they're going to full on block your data. Here's where the tolls come in, right? So we went through probably a terrible implementation, but who knows? Maybe it was excellent. I have no idea. But the SaaS vendor then rolls out these changes in pricing, and you've already have a 3-year contract with them, but they can change the pricing whenever they want. So they have AI add-ons that are now in your core. Even if you don't use them, you're still going to be paying for them. And then new sort of consumption-based fees, premium features, or for things that you already rely on, right? At this point, you're like, what the hell, right? When did all of these things increase? But right? At this point, switching or replatforming these workflows, retraining staff, rebuilding all of these integrations internally, re-engineering where the data is because you can't get to it, right? Would be a multi-year, multi-million-dollar project, not even after you just bought this new system that executive sign off. So what, now you want another 10 million to fix it? And the big consulting firm or the Sherpas, right, that led you through this, they're not gone. Because remember, they profit off of your failure, right? So that they guided you through this journey, and now they're selling you ongoing things like managed services or project enhancements for these new modules or governance so that you can now understand your new AI features. This is a forever toxic relationship for you. They stand at the toll gate, right? So you pay the SaaS platform for access, and then you're paying the partner anytime you want to, switch lanes or take an exit ramp, and even breathe in your car. And this is exactly why big consulting like Accenture buys cloud Sherpa firms, especially if they're industry vertical, because they want the opportunity to get their claws in your technology ecosystem. It's not a partner, it's extortion.